this week. On today's training, we're going to be talking about, next week we're going to have a special guest from our UPP program, the Unified Procurement Program, and we're going to be having Alex Wilson and perhaps maybe Sandy Robinson as well to join us and to discuss the UPP program, given just a general overview of what the program is, and so you may be able to ask some questions as well. We have a new AltNon-RFI type code that was added at the PO. Now this is just going to be applicable to those leases, so this is specific to leasing, and we'll talk about that a little bit. IAPPO's fall virtual conference is this week, and so I just wanted to be able to do a little outreach and promote that. It is going to be virtual, of course, this, considering everything that's going on, and I'll give you a link to that. Our next bid buy training will be December 9th, and then our fun fact of the day. So first up, make sure you highlight your calendar. Do not miss next week because there's going to be a lot of great information regarding the UPP program. So join us next week for a special guest presenter, Alex Wilson, to learn more about our Unified Procurement Program. Now this is our joint purchasing arm, and so some of you may have experience with that so far. Maybe you've done a piggyback. Maybe you have actually done joint purchasing with another agency, but it's fairly new, and I don't want to give away too much because you know what, Alex is the subject matter expert, so she's going to be walking through the UPP program and giving a high-level view, and really provide it's just another tool in your toolbox for procurement out at the agency. So make sure you don't miss next Tuesday's training for this. Okay, so we have a new type code. So this is not going to be applicable for maybe a lot of use, but also potentially we have our leasing folks on the meeting today. Just to give a quick little high-level view. So for leasing, one of their procurement methods is called a RFI. So this isn't to be confused with what another agency would do, a request for information, where you're just putting out questions about industry standards and those sorts of things. This is, and then vendors actually submit responses to a request for information. Those requests for information, they never get awarded, nothing to be awarded, so it never gets to a purchase order. There's never a contract, none of that sort of thing. However, in leasing, so all of our leased buildings around the state, that procurement method, when we actually receive quotes, it's very similar to maybe like an RFP procurement for all of our other agencies, but certainly that procurement method is called a request for information. So we do actually receive quotes and do award those as an RFI. However, there also is another procurement method that is allowed via the code that's called an alt or non-RFI. So not to get too far in the weeds, I just don't want to confuse you all. If you're not having anything to do with a lease for your agency, you can just ignore this. But we do have a new type code that allows to separate between the RFI type code and the non-RFI type code. So for a renewal or an extension of a lease, or a lease for those spaces that are less than 10,000 square feet and less than $100,000 per year for rent, that's considered one of these alt non-RFIs. So all that to say, we do have a new type code because in the past there was another type code that was method of source selection other, and that's what was being utilized for that alt or non-RFI type code, and now we have a new one, PO. So like I said, this is specifically only for leasing, so it will say alt non-RFI / leasing. So if you have any specific questions about that, or any of our leasing folks that may be on the call, let us know. Also, you have those leases that potentially could be delegated from CMS back out to the agency, so the agency actually performs the procurement. Just a reminder, if you're utilizing that type, or if you do one of these non-RFIs, which is less than 10,000 square feet, less than $100,000 per year, that a non-RFI, and you utilize that type code at the PO. However, most of our agency leases are done by CMS, but there are those instances where it's delegated back to the agency to perform that procurement. Okay. Next up, so IAPPO, which is the Illinois Association of Public Procurement Officials, has their fall conference this week. It will be virtual, of course. And so I just want to throw this out to everybody. I know the CPOGS team, a lot of us will be attending as well. But it occurs to me that they go over a lot of things that are great for procurement officials. So they're going to have keynotes. There's going to be 3 half days for this virtual conference. There's some information here. You have the link that goes directly to the IAPPO page, which goes to their event, and there's some information down there at the bottom if you'd like to join us. So it will be begins on noon on Wednesday, as well as then Thursday afternoon and then Friday morning. So there will be keynote speakers, breakout sessions. There's a lot of information there. I don't want to go too far into it, but if you're interested, click on that link and register. And also, just as a heads up, your SPO, if they haven't reached out to you already, they may be attending these virtual conferences as well. I know I am. And so during Wednesday afternoon, Thursday afternoon, and Friday morning, just kind of a heads up that they might not be as available as they normally would. Most years we would actually be in person, and we would be up in the Chicagoland area for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Okay. Oh, just a training regarding our second Wednesday of each month for bid buy training. We did our training last week, but I'll just have this as a slide each week just to kind of remind everybody if you're not here with us each week. So our next training will be Wednesday, December 9th. We're pretty happy with our agenda. It's been working out pretty well, breaking out these sessions. And so feel free to join us for the entire day, or if you would like to just pop in for a session, that's certainly fine as well. And yeah, I feel like we've kind of touched on that quite a bit, but there it is. You have the link. It is the same link now. It'll be the second Wednesday of each month, utilizing the same exact WebEx link each month. Recent questions FAQ. So I didn't really receive anything. I got a couple other questions that we touched on from last week, again in our monthly training. So you can go back and take a look at last week's video if you wanted to touch on any of those. I didn't really receive anything specific, but I do like this idea of having a recent questions or FAQ section each week, and maybe we can throw a couple questions on each week, but I didn't really receive anything to add. So I guess this is a perfect opportunity to solicit questions from you guys. If there's anything that you think that you would like to see answered on one of these questions, as always, so this always is applicable here. Please feel free to reach out to me, to email my email or the cpogs.training@illinois.gov email as well. And we're always kind of looking for topics as well. If there's anything that your agency would benefit from, we are here to oblige. So our fun fact of the day today, it's National Take a Hike Day. So I love hiking, so this is right up my alley. And not to say that to put it into context, taking a hike, get outside, go do that. Don't tell your boss to take a hike. We don't want any of that. Or we don't want you to tell, we want you to say, well, Dave said, take a hike. So kind of a very short Training Tuesday this week. So go out and there's the email for cpogs.training. We will see you next Tuesday, and let me know if you guys have any of those questions in the meantime, and I'll be sure to answer them. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week.